The 5 types of Mediterranean tortoises are probably the best pet tortoises for most people. Greeks shown here, and all the other testudo stay small. The Marginated is the biggest of the testudo. And, of course, the Egyptian is the smallest and not typically available. But Russians are friendly and a great pet, as are Hermanns and the other species. Unlike sulcatas, they don't get so large and dig burrows or require warm temperatures in the winter, such as stars or tropical requirements for the redfoots. Russian tortoises were moved to the genus Agronemes in around 2000, but a few years ago they were moved back to the genus of Testudo. Russian tortoises range from Iran in the west to China in the east. And interesting to note, they're not found in what is currently Russia. The most common specimen in the U.S. is probably from Kazakhstan, that imported between about 70,000 and 100,000 annually for many years. That's one of the reasons we always recommend that you buy captive born. As you can see, I keep them in groups, and with all the testudo, I have multiple females for each male, as these tortoises can be aggressive towards each other. Their other common name, the four-toed tortoise, is another distinguishing feature. As you can see, they only have 4 toes. Here's a male showing aggression to the female, bites at her so that he can mate. This is a pair of Russian tortoises, male on the left. You'll see he has a much longer, thicker tail than the female on the right. Both of them have a very flat plastron. I'm going to flip them back. Though my original specimens were wild caught, there are currently enough people breeding these now that there's no need to take any from the wild. They're also great climbers, so a cage to protect them from predators and prevent them from climbing out may be helpful. Here, the Russian tortoises digs to lay eggs. They'll typically lay around 4 eggs or so, and then the female will cover over the nest. I remove the eggs and incubate them in perlite or peat moss, and that banding or chalking up shows that they're fertile. And after about 2 months, out come the little hatchlings. Always cool to see. This is a Russian tortoise burrowed in to escape the heat. Hatchling colors can be quite variable. Sometimes I get these black ones, but they don't really grow to look that much different than the other ones. Here's a picture of the baby with its parents. And this is a picture on top left, a Russian and a bunch of different Greek tortoises. These are Russian tortoises. They've got Bermuda grass, and supplement them with some other food. The diet is supplemented with lettuce, carrots, zucchini, and even spineless prickly pear. They've got logs and stuff to hide in and under, around. But that's them. I typically keep hatchlings inside their first winter on peat moss and usually Bermuda grass clippings. And here's the pen, heat light, UV. Now let's talk about Hermann's tortoises. The care is very similar to Russians, and you'll probably acquire a hatchling from your local reptile expo. A number of them are still imported, oftentimes come in with damaged shells such as this or potential other health issues, so it's always best to acquire a hatchling. There are 3 different species or subspecies of Hermann's tortoise. This is the western Hermann. It's found from Spain and France to the coastal areas of Italy and some of the islands. The eastern Hermann's found more in Greece, and there's 2 different species. The Dalmatian tortoise, or Testudo herzegovinensis, can be distinguished from Testudo bogardi, as it is typically lacking the inguinal scute. These are the 2 species most common in the pet trade, as the western Hermann haven't been imported for many years. Like my Russian tortoises, they're maintained outside in Phoenix, Arizona year-round and experience temperatures that range from about a low of 25 to a high of 120. I built those little shelters, and in the winter I stuffed them with hay. The block is how I get rid of ants. I put Amdrel or ant poison in that so the tortoises can't get to it, and it takes care of the ant colony. Sometimes the tortoises will just dig into the sandy loose soil to hibernate or escape the heat, but the shelter gives them protection also from the elements. Unfortunately, it also attracts a place for rabbits, which then attracts other unwanted predators. These unwanted predators are gently removed, but the shelter provides protection for the tortoise from the extreme heat and extreme cold. Provides them insulation so they can achieve their optimal hibernating temperature of around 41 degrees. They'll also dig and lay eggs in their hide area or at any point where there's some moist soil, such as after a rain or at the base of the fountain grass. If found, the eggs are brought inside and artificially incubated on peat moss or perlite in basically a shoebox at a temperature in the mid-80s. They hatch in a couple months like all Testudo, but I do believe those laid in the fall could overwinter and hatch in spring. During courtship, males may ram and bite like all the Testudo, and therefore, like the Russians, I generally keep them with multiple females for each male. If I don't find the eggs, they'll hatch naturally out of the ground when the monsoon rains come in August. The turtle may be a little dirty, but they're healthy. Males and females, just like these Russians, are distinguished by the male having a longer tail, female a little short stubby tail. Keep the hatchlings just like I showed on the Russians in peat moss, grass clippings. Hermanns can be quite variable in color and size, same as Russians, depending on geographically where they come from. Are these high yellows or are they intergrades? Sometimes it's hard to know for sure. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to Hermanns and Russian tortoises. My next video will cover Egyptians, Marginateds, and Greeks. Have a great day.